We eat here in the Valencia household debt-free differently, and we have from day one. But now it's pretty drastic and really obvious because we've reached a point in our financial journey where we need to accomplish multiple goals at one time. And while focused intensity on one goal is obviously the best way to achieve a goal quickly, it is not the only way to achieve a goal. So that's what we're going through right now. And I truly believe that some people out there think that the only way to live a debt-free lifestyle is to do it in phases. Focus on this, finish it, and then move on to the next phase. And I'm here to tell you that this is not the case. It's 100% possible for me to save up, to buy a house, to save for retirement, to pay down on debt all at the same time. Will it take me longer? Absolutely. But contributing to a retirement plan is vitally important to your future financial health. So today I want to do more of a free form video about all of the comments I'm getting about how deviating from the plan is akin to financial suicide, and why those commenters aren't really seeing our big picture. Hi, I'm Wendy Valencia. My husband Mauricio and I are in the last third of our debt payoff. And while initially we kind of loosely followed someone else's plan, really loosely. Come on, let's be honest. We've done our own thing from the very beginning. And lately we are really deviating from what everybody else is doing. I get it. It freaks you out. You're a rules follower. And while I'm a rules follower too, I do have a tendency to question the rules that don't necessarily seem completely logical to me, or that I can see maybe there's something even better. And there are a couple of rules with the traditional plan that I just don't agree with. For example, not contributing to retirement when you have a match is absolutely one of them. In my video on Tuesday, I actually run the math on how much we would miss out on just by not contributing to retirement for the 3 short years that we were working to pay off the first $200,000. And by the way, we didn't contribute to retirement for those first 3 years. So those numbers show you how much we missed out on, and I didn't even take into account the match. And honestly, it makes me a little sick that we're never going to see that money, especially when there's no real logical reason for me doing it other than I was just following the rules set by somebody else instead of evaluating the rules for myself. But so, I've always kind of followed my own path, and it's done well for me. I did it with my career, I did it with my diet, I did it with my personal life. Heck, I didn't even get married until I was in my late 30s because I was traveling all over the world for work. And when I finally did choose somebody, it was someone who was 12 years younger than I was. I'm just a non-traditional kind of girl. So when people tell me that what I'm doing is wrong, I just kind of laugh because I have a real long history of the I'll show you mentality as a theme in my life. Probably one of the things I hate more than anything in the whole world is someone telling me no. Telling me I can't do something immediately fires up my like hell I can't attitude. And I get that attitude a lot. I've never really accepted no as an answer. I've just kind of find workarounds. That being said, I do listen to what people say. I do hear all the pros and the cons. And that's probably why I do so many pros and cons videos, because I take all that in and evaluate things from all sides. And I know there are other people out there like me who want to hear all the sides. So what exactly is our plan going to be? Looking down the road over the next 5 to 6 years, which we have never done before ever in the entire history of our marriage, we are evaluating what we have coming down the pike. And once we are past this time in our lives, it should be relatively smooth sailing, but the next 5 to 6 years are going to be tough. I mean, we have so many balls in the air and so much going on that figuring out what is most important and how we're going to prioritize is going to be a big thing, not just financially, but like energy wise too. So what exactly are we doing over the next 5 to 6 years that are going to take our finances and our energy? Well, we kind of have 6 things that we need to worry about. Number 1, paying off debt. We have a little over $100,000 to go, which I know sounds overwhelming to most of you, but remember, we've already paid off $200,000, well over $200,000 in 3 years. So being at the $100,000 mark is kind of not terribly stressful for us. Plus, 50,000 of that last 100,000 is already in deferment, which came as a shock to me when last month they kicked it into deferment because we hadn't actually initiated it, nor did we plan to put Mauricio's big school loan in deferment while he was in school. But we're still paying on it because the interest is still accruing on the unsubsidized loans. And well, it's accruing on the subsidized loans too, but those are the ones covered by the government. So we'll actually start making some headway on the school loan, which is awesome. But that's a whole other video for a whole other time. But what you may see is us starting to stockpile that school loan payment for some of these other things. We honestly just found out, and so we really have to run the numbers first, but that is a possibility. Number 2, paying cash for Mauricio's education. Hopefully, Mauricio will be able to get grants and scholarships because we're going to need them. But we're not adverse to school loans. I've never looked at school loans as being a negative thing because sometimes they're the only option. And in the case of Mauricio, we need to look at the potential earning of the person versus the cost of schooling. But that being said, we are going to do everything we can to avoid taking out school loans. It may not be possible to do this without taking out some money in school loans, but it's going to be legitimately as little as physically possible. You will not see me paying my mortgage with a school loan or buying food. No. I could actually do a whole math thing about borrowing money to go to school while doing the next thing we're doing. Trust me when I tell you that the math works out in our favor as long as we pay off the school loans and as long as it doesn't take us 30 years to pay them off, which we would never take 30 years to pay off school loans. Number 3, contributing enough to retirement to at least make the minimum match. It has to be done. I've missed it for 3 years. You saw how much money that cost me just based on that contribution, not including the match. I'm not doing it any longer, period. Number 4, when Mauricio starts grad school in architecture in about 2 years, he's going to have to quit his job and we're going to go down to 1 income. Right now, he's taking undergraduate architecture courses to meet the minimum requirements for a graduate school entrance. So those courses...
Makes corn, corn makes whiskey, whiskey makes my baby a little whiskey.
Good Lord. Right now, he's taking undergraduate courses at the local community college just to get him the basic credits to get into graduate school because his undergraduate degree is not in architecture. And when that happens, we'll be down to 1 paycheck. And honestly, that is moderately terrifying to me. But we'll discuss it a little more when we get to number 6. Number 5, we might need to buy a new car in the next couple of years because our Expedition is already 14 years old and it's just started having issues. But if we have to do that, we'll get a cheap one that gets great gas mileage and it's going to be something used and something that we can pay cash for, a small amount of cash that will get us through a couple of years. And number 6, we're saving for this house. And this is where I'm getting the most flack because why would we buy the house while we have all this other stuff going on? I get it. But honestly, we've run the numbers and it'll be tight, especially for the 2 years that Mauricio is in school and we have only 1 paycheck coming in. But that's precisely why I'm focusing on building up my business here and my website so I can hopefully earn a supplemental income over on the website. And, you know, I already have a small income coming in from YouTube. So you'll see me starting to grow that over the next 2 years. So hopefully it'll minimize the difference in income between now and Mauricio leaving his job. Also, during the 2 years that he's not working, you're gonna see us go down to a bare bones budget. There will be no expensive camps for Melina, no saving for vacation. We'll be eating cheap food, and shopping of any sort will be gone. All that fluff you've seen in the past, which accounted for like less than 10% of our budget, will be gone. We will wait till the last possible minute to do that though, because historically we haven't functioned terribly well on such a restricted budget. So we have indicated to my parents that for us, the ideal time for them to go is actually at the end of next year. And they're 100% on board with that, but with their health situation, that may not be a possible solution. So we need to prepare for it now. We really wanted to do a rent-to-own thing, but my parents need the equity in the house to buy into the retirement community so they don't have to touch their savings. The question I keep getting asked is, why do we feel compelled to even buy a house when we have $100,000 in debt? And there are a couple of reasons. They will, one, be selling it to us way under market value. So the day we buy it, we'll actually already have about 30% in equity in the house. Number two, we love the neighborhood and we couldn't ask for a better place to live. And number three, there are no apartments or townhouses in this school district, so we'd have to uproot Melina if we move anywhere. We know we are trying to accomplish a lot financially in one short period of time. We are well aware of how much we're trying to accomplish, but we also think we can do it. So I'll see you in the next one. See ya. We're out.